You growing a mustache?
Yeah, didn't you see it? How's it look?
When did you start?
10 days ago.
Oh yeah, look at that. You can
Look,
just put you can put a little cream on and let the cat lick it off if you want to.
Why do you have so much facial hair?
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's winter.
No, but I mean, you have you could grow facial hair, and you had your little chest hairs when you were a kid too.
What's that?
I'm not a hairy individual.
I'm not overly hairy. I'm
No,
envious.
I guess I should just go ahead and say it aloud. I'm I'm giving you propers over your facial and carcass hair growth.
I know, but I'm envious of some individuals that really have that good beard growth and carcass hair growth.
Like whom? Will you turn that down? Give
I
me an
don't.
example.
There's just some. I mean, there's just some people that have magnum beards.
Yeah.
Mine's still a little thin. It's a nice beard, but it's not like I can't grow one of those, mountain man beards, which I really like to have.
Well, have you didn't wait till you haven't seen Sam, have you? When's the last time you saw Sam?
Sam's got a great beard. That's a beard.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
it's the most. He's a prick, man. The guy looks great. He looks like $1 million body wise. He's handsome as all fuck. And then he goes to grow a beard, and it's like got this gorgeous undercoat with it.
Oh, he, he's he's a good looking man.
And the beard game too. I bet he's got a big jalon too.
Oh, I bet he does. We need to take a look.
Well, you're the pecker checker of us. You check him out.
I guess. I don't know. I'm the
Call
pecker.
call William Regal.
Yeah.
Get him on the case. Do I
Let's
look
uh,
shit?
let's put the science on the case.
All right,
He'd probably go for it.
folks. It's the Randcast. We're talking about Sam's wiener.
Yeah.
It
Well,
doesn't
important.
look that bad, does it?
What's that?
The stash.
What about it?
You wouldn't like it when it's angry.
Yeah. Well, you gotta let it grow out a little more. It's
I
still
am. I am.
still a little light.
Yeah.
You could just Hollywood Hogan it and put some shoe
Shoe
polish in.
polish. how much? How much will you pay me? I'll do it. If you pay me, I will.
Oh, you should pay me. I'm helping you out.
How do you think? You think the mommies will like the stash?
Yeah, man.
I don't know. Well, guess we'll find out.
Well, why did you decide to grow it?
Because I realized that when I was a younger man, I was pretty. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not pretty anymore. So I'm
You
gonna
think
try this.
the stash is gonna make you prettier?
No, no, forget it. Pretty. I'm trying for the rugged appearance now.
Yeah. What happened? So you can't grow a beard at all? You can't grow.
I don't want a beard.
You should do it, man.
Oh man, it freaks me out.
Hey, it help. No, it helps with aging, man. I'm telling you. Covers
Well,
your face. Covers your face, so you don't have to worry about the. I feel like when I do look older when I shave my beard.
let
You
me
know,
put a toe in the facial hair water with the stash, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm just saying, how things start to get a little loose under the chin and stuff. Well, that's
Oh,
all covered
turkey
up.
neck.
When you got that beard, you ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah, but what about smell? Yours kind of stinks.
No way, man. No, man. That's why you got to go buy. I buy beard cream. I get that.
Let me.
I get oil. I rub my beard with oils and creams.
Let,
It smells great, man. It's like a bourbon vanilla flavored. It's really good. It's kind of got that barbershop smell. That after
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan. I never really used beard cream until a couple of years ago. Oh
What
no,
happened?
I never used beard cream until a couple of years ago.
Hold on, you're blacked out and turn that thing right. What happened? How did it fall?
It is right.
Turn it a little more. We can barely. You look sneaky. You're looking at us on the side of a wall. Turn
Well,
it to
what do
the right. There you go.
you want from me, man?
How was your holiday, Kurt?
Well, first off, if you do grow a beard, I highly recommend. I have some nice oils and I have some nice potent potables for you to invest in.
Will it work on just a mustache?
Sure,
All right, bring it on.
it's nice, clean, fresh, crisp feeling.
Will it make it soft?
Yeah. Well, you know, the big problem with the beard is sometimes you get some dry skin.
That's what fucks me up.
Well, that's why you need to use a cream,
All right,
beard cream. My
creamy.
my
First
my
of all,
holidays
how was
were
your holiday?
fine. They were
Huh?
good. They were uneventful. Because as you know, I've worked a lot, so I basically just use those days to relax.
So, so we finished the story from last week. Did you ride over with your folks or did you drive yourself
Drove
for Christmas?
myself.
All right, good, good. So you didn't lambaste the family with gas.
I had so many hors d'oeuvres and stuff before that I didn't even really have any. I had a little potato soup and a little bit of chili, but I was so full from all the hors d'oeuvres that I
That's
didn't really.
good. That
We
that was
usually have we all sit down and usually have soup, but we had so much stuff. I mean, we had wings and meatballs and a couple of different little like my mom makes like she buys like a small. It's like a little piece of rye bread. You get them, you know, it comes in a
yeah, the baby
small,
ones. Yeah.
and she puts cream cheese and a cucumber and a little bit of oregano. Those
Mhm.
are really good. You know, like pigs in a blanket. What else do we have? Well, we had chips and nachos and all kinds of stuff. I don't remember what else, but
So not a lot of gas was passed.
no,
And yeah, that was mine and your mother's concern.
just you got to get some gas X, man. That's where it's at.
No, I got a new one. Now listen, you guys are getting this is a wrestling podcast, but listen to the beauty tips you're getting about beard care, mustache growth. But
Yeah,
now I'm going to dip into
and honestly, 90% of you nerds at home, you wrestling fans, probably need some of this advice. So we're helping you out, so you can
all right.
finally move out of your parents' basements, get jobs, and grow the hell up, and maybe actually have a girlfriend. Hey, speaking of that, have you ever seen that Shatner clip on SNL where he's at the Star Trek convention? You ever
Mm-mm.
seen that? Oh,
No.
it's great. It's great. He's like up there at the podium, and they're like all these grown men are all dressed like Spock and stuff, and they're asking these ridiculous questions. He goes, "Listen, I just want to say, I know some of you have traveled hundreds of miles to be here, and with that said, you know, get a life, would you? I mean, it's just a TV show, okay? I mean, look at you right there. You're 40. Have you ever been with a woman? No, I didn't think so. So
I'm gonna look
get
it up now.
move out of your parents' basements and grow the hell up. It's just a TV show. That's how sometimes I feel like with wrestling fans. Sorry for all you wrestling fans out there, but it's just pro wrestling. I mean, grow up, damn it. When I was your age, I wasn't, you know, trolling around the internet. I was out trying to get laid. You know, that's
I'm
hey,
trying to
you
get
right.
laid. Yeah.
You're
Trying
40.
to
You're better than.
get you were trying to get laid and learn how to work.
Right, exactly. Which is the same thing.
It
You
is the
learn how to
same
work.
thing.
You learn how to work.
Yeah.
Sorry if I just killed off half our fan base, but
No, you didn't, because that
you
that
They need to hear this.
That half doesn't. That half won't spend money, much less like and subscribe.
Now, go get a job. I'm giving you advice. Go get a job. Move out of your parents' basement. Grow the hell up.
You'd make a hell of a life coach, bro.
Well, that's what we're here for. I feel like maybe that's the direction we should go. That's the direction we should take this podcast. How to better, how to better yourself. Like we have grooming tips so you can look better.
Yeah.
And it's time to look yourself in the mirror and grab life by the balls. Take control of your own life. Don't wait for other people to hand something to you. You can control your own life.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Now back to what I was trying to say as far as their health goes. I'm trying this one out. I'm only about 24 hours in. I make a smoothie now with cucumbers and pineapple. Not bad. It's not a bad smoothie, but it's supposed to possibly help out with what makes me fart so much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And 24 hours in, or about 24 hours in now, it's starting to work, I believe. Am I farting as much in the past 24 hours? See? So there you go. Find a way to make it palatable if you're gaseous as I am, and mix your cucumbers and pineapple. So now we got the beer, we got your guts handled. Now we can get to the meat of the potato, mate. So I wish I had it to read. I didn't save it, but I'm going to surmise for you, Casey.
Okay.
So what's going around the internet in these, I don't know, because you can't tell the difference anymore. The internet fan and the indie guy, it got heated, man. It blew up. The post I saw blew up. Ricky Morton tweeted or said on Facebook, guys, calling it in the ring is an art. Please don't let the art form die. And the prominent thoughts are the internet wrestling fan / idiot say, I say Ricky's being lazy by not charting out and choreographing his matches. What do you have on that?
Said that.
I don't know, man. One asshole, Ricky puts it out there to try to help these idiots. And instead, they get defensive and say, no, you're just being a lazy old man. We like to choreograph every move and not so.
They just don't know any better. They think they know, but they don't know. I mean, because they've never been, this is why they would probably change their tune if they were in a situation where they actually were working in front of a crowd that were emotionally invested in what they were doing.
Yeah, organic crowd.
Oh, hey, exactly. They would realize, wow, I'm getting a better reaction. These people are more into it because because we're calling it according to what the people want or how they're, what they don't want, what what I'm saying? Like
100%.
They've never done that. I think maybe they would change their tune. They'd be like, oh wow. But then here's the thing. I don't feel like a lot of the guys today, I can't speak for all of them, but maybe some of these independent guys, they don't work the matches for the people. They work the matches for the boys in the back or for themselves. Like I said, the only barometer we had when we worked for what was a good match and a bad match is, number one, how many people are there to see it, and number two, how did they react?
Yeah.
Arn Anderson used to say, the best worker is the one that can make them yell the longest, the loudest.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true. Those are the only two criterias we had to what was a good match, was how many people were in the building to see it and how the people reacted. See, I feel like guys now, like, they go out there and do their shit, but the people don't really buy it. They just kind of sit on their hands. Well, that was a good match, because whatever we did. But if the people aren't going crazy about it, then to me, that doesn't mean shit.
No.
Sometimes you go out there and do it. do a lot to get them. Sometimes you don't,
It's a business. It's not about showing off, you oafs. Like you
right,
hit the nail on the head when you said, what was their reaction? You can gauge by their reaction how many are going to come back next week
right.
to draw money. That's not why they do it. And that's just not wrestling. And it's a shame because you got all that blockage. It's like getting an enema. Wrestling needs an enema to blow out all the shit that you don't need and use. And that's sorry, guys. That's the India today, He's worried about what his comrade thinks and the extended family instead of the organics of drawing a crowd, getting people to actually spend money to see you.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like I said, if you go out there and do a bunch of shit, and I mean, hey, whatever, that's fine. If you want to work hard, I mean, I'm not saying not work hard, but if you go out there and do a bunch of shit, a bunch of chain wrestling and back and forth and no selling, the people aren't buying it. But then you go to the back, the boys are like, "Oh, that was awesome, this and that." Like that's not how it's supposed to work.
It's not pro wrestling.
That's not pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And now nobody really draws anyways. But
No,
that was the thing. Like if you didn't draw people, you weren't used again.
we're fired. Go home.
Or you were phased out, or like, well, this isn't working. We're going in another direction.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's no repercussions really today for the shit work and these guys doing what they're doing because that doesn't really exist. Like I feel like anybody will book anybody. So
yeah, but the repercussion is the fact that they're never going to go anywhere else.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's on them.
Yeah, but I mean, you're handling it better than I did. So I start up here and I go 0 to 60. I go, yeah, mother effers. Ask Sheldon Benjamin if calling it in the ring matters. Ask Dolph Ziggler if calling it in the ring matters. Ask The Miz if calling it in the ring matters. Look at their paychecks versus your favesies, your internet pals. But good. Keep them there because at the end of the day, the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah. Well, these guys they're probably even saying Ricky's lazy.
They have no idea.
They're probably better off calling it all in the back because they wouldn't even know how to call it in the ring.
It's not calling it in the back though, even, man. Like, a lot of them run once a month, and you know what they do for 4 weeks?
They practice the match for the whole month.
Exactly, for 4 weeks.
I know.
Yeah, that's an art form.
No, that's not. Because those guys have no chance of being able to call in the ring because they're so locked into one match that if you just went off script, they'd be fucked.
You got dark. I can't see you. A little better. There you go. What are you drinking?
An espresso.
Oh, but chilled?
Yeah, one of those gimmicks from the quick stop from the gas station.
Get a pot, espresso pot like mine.
Yeah, I usually drink a pre-workout, so that has plenty of caffeine in it.
All right, I won't break your balls.
Because I usually wake up and try to go to the gym right away because I don't have much time. So that's pretty much my caffeine intake,
Sure. So have you watched any wrestling?
Man, let me think. I haven't really seen. Oh, let me think. Did I see anything on YouTube? Because I haven't watched any of the. I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown. If that's what you're asking me.
No, anything.
Anything. I feel like I listened to a couple of clips, interviews of somebody, but no, I haven't watched any since last week. I haven't had time, but.
So what I happened upon is I think it was a Tales from the Territory about the old NWA era, Baby Doll.
Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic, yeah. I mean, they talked about the whole thing. The biggest thing was talking about and they never really got to the meat of it, come to think of it, the heat that the heels had. You know, but that baby doll, such a smart girl.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing about her is it was nice to hear that she never had any weird shit happen, no Me Too like stuff. And she thanked, you know, a lot of the guys that were there. But the other part about it is, ladies in this business, you got to carry yourself like she did. If you carry yourself a certain way, it's like, I was thinking about it. It just spawned a whole bunch of thoughts. And one of the things is I wrote down and stole a bunch of stuff that she said that she didn't even mean to say. That is amazing stuff, promo material for today, you know. But ladies especially, I tell them from the get-go, if you want to make it in this business, if you're serious, don't sleep with these guys because they will talk. And if you send them pictures of your breastises, they're going to show everybody the pictures of your breastises, you know.
Right.
And right away, you've got that stigmata against you, you know. Chances of you meeting the love of your life in the wrestling industry are very, very slim, you know. But it goes back to shitting where you eat. She didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know. The other thing is, did you know that at one point Ted DiBiase, and he wasn't just using her, he dated Mike McGurk when he broke in.
Yeah, I feel like I might have heard.
Well, when Leroy found out, he was going to shoot him, legit shoot him. Like,
Sure.
You'll see in this thing that Jim Ross probably saved Teddy's life that night. And after that, he realized not to crap where he eats. And as a young man, Teddy and Mike decided this is over. You know, that's what we're talking about, you know, this drama. But girls, carry yourselves differently. You know, you can't flirt with these guys because it's going to backfire, you know, if you want to be taken seriously. I've heard long dissertations from the decision makers at World Wrestling Entertainment about this shit in particular and the drama. Now, you may see couples like you, Casey. For the most part, you were there at the same time Miz and his wife were in the system, breaking into the company, correct?
Yeah.
But they didn't, they got their business down. Once they got their business down, they grew up and matured. Then they had a relationship within the industry.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
And it's supposed to be about making money. And you can talk about these indie girls and, you know, the AEW girls and whoever the hell else. But at the end of the day, I would rather have, how do you say her name, Maurice?
Maurice, yes.
Wow. I'd rather have Maurice's bank account than any top indie or AEW female. You know?
Yeah.
And is there any dirt on her? I've never heard it. Is there any?
No, I don't believe so.
And let's talk about Michelle McCool. Casey and Damian Sandow were the first team Michelle McCool managed. Same thing. In your wildest dreams, did you ever think about being inappropriate with Michelle McCool?
I never did. No.
And why? Because
No, I didn't do that shit. I never did. You know how
yeah.
I never seriously dated anybody in the business. And I never brought my family around the business. I never brought my girlfriends around the business.
Yeah.
Nothing. Even like at WWE, they would do things at like WrestleMania, which was very family friendly. No, I never did it. That's just one thing. Even now, I would still not do it. I would
How
never.
did Michelle carry herself, though, for example?
Oh, like a professional. She was fine.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was remembering after I left TNA as production manager, I went down to Mexico to talk to AAA. And, you know, I was trying to figure out the Latin culture, you know. There's a lot of similarities between the Puerto Rican culture and the Mexican culture, but there's a lot of differences. So one of the things I learned in Puerto Rico, and you learned in Puerto Rico, you got to prove, in a sense, your quote unquote manhood. Can you handle yourself? You know? And the way I tried to do that was they wanted to pick me up from the airport and put me up, and I was like, no, I'm going to really make a statement and figure it out myself. And I'll just meet you at your office at 9 a.m., you know? Well, the biggest thing is you get off the plane and your phone is slammed. You cannot use your cell phone in Mexico.
Oh,
You know?
right. When you're off of the plane, it's
Oh my God. So, so then the other thing is how fucking big Mexico City is. You may as well be in New York.
Right.
I don't speak the goddamn language, Casey. I know pollo, yuca, agua. That's it. You know, and of course the bad words that will get you killed in Mexico City at that time. You know. Well, I found my way to their office, which automatically sets that pace. But you know, at that time, it was more dangerous, or the onset or the height of the dangers of being a gringo in Mexico City by yourself. You know. And I'm lucky, like, fortunately, I didn't get fucked with, but it goes back to like what I'm trying to say to women or young lady performers in this industry. It's some bubble that you carry around you. You're not carrying around this thing that wants to pick a fight. You're not carrying around this look or this appearance or this aura that says, I'll beat your ass if you fuck with me. You got to carry this aura about you. It's very professional that says, don't fuck with me. I won't fuck with you. You know? And that's what I'm trying to get at. I was very lucky to be able to have done that. And I'm half nuts for doing it, you know? But it's kind of the thing that has got to be taught. It's a certain level of street smart, which at the end of the day, WWE is not going to hire you unless you have that emotional maturity.
Right.
You know? And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying go down there and practice your.
They may hire you, but you probably won't last. That's
No.
the big thing. You know, like to have any longevity. It's a really hard business. I mean, people when you get there, I mean, a lot of people change their tune once you get there because it's a tough life. It's not an easy life. You know.
No. And
So
you
much.
know, but it's really a good life. If you figure it out, it's a good life. I guess what I'm saying is at the end of the day, they have a lot more opportunity now than they did when I broke in, where I would really honestly be around 202 pounds in the land of the giants, you know?
Well,
a lot harder, you know, a lot harder.
That's why at the end of the day, yeah, it's a hard life and it's not easy, but that's why not only from a performing standpoint, but just that's when they say you should do this because you love it. If you don't love it, you're never gonna make it.
Yeah.
It's because that's why you do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't love it, you're never gonna be able to be able to last that long because it is living on the road and not having a normal life. You have to love it, or you can't just pretend to love it and then have any longevity. You won't have many years of being able to just fake it and do that. You'll eventually
I love it.
I
love being on the road. I love sleeping in hotels. I love the camaraderie. You know,
yeah.
I love that shit. The happiest I ever was down there in Memphis wrestling 8 times a week, man, for 9 months. Unbelievable. I just loved it. I don't have time to think about the little shit. You know, I'm not saying I didn't handle my business. I handled my business, but I had a lot less drama. You know, yes, there were stressful situations, but my life overall was just a blast.
Right.
You know, and that brings me to another point. So what I did was I finally just said to hell with it. I started looking at the YouTube traffic of the, I guess it goes by views more than subscribers, but everybody wants to go toward that subscriber thing, which is good. Hey, I'm grateful for both, but what ranks you is the actual views, you know? And the ones that we're close to, the one that was right above us and then right below us was, you ever heard of that Santino Brothers Wrestling?
No.
I'm like, I didn't either. You know, I'm like, who the fuck? What the fuck is this? You know what I mean? And then I look at it, and they have more subscribers. You know, and I'm like, wait a minute. So it's a train. Who are these fucking guys? Where have they been? What have they done? You know, I'm not trying to start wars or nothing, but there's nothing special about either guy. I'm like, why would people take them as a legitimate training source or legitimate on YouTube or legitimate anything to do with wrestling? So what happens is they're one way, shape, or form spawned from that former, what was that porno company in LA that dabbled in hardcore and fought with Paul Heyman?
Oh yeah, XPW.
Yeah. So he's a survivor of that. And
Really?
right away, I mean, that was the biggest joke in the history of the industry. The history of the industry. You know, that guy, Rob Black, I think, and XPW actually made Paul Heyman and ECW then look credible because it was so piss poor.
Right. Sure.
But the thing there is he got two boosts, man, or that Santino brothers got two boosts. The first one was they were on Storage Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they first started. That's huge because that show is really, Storage Wars is really got a great consistent rating, but it used to be the shit to watch. It was like way up there, you know?
Right.
And then the other thing is they got a boost from the goddamn Dark Side of the Ring shit. So that's kind of cheating, but you know, good for you. But the point being is that they were right below us, or no, they're right above us on the top 100 with that boost. Like ours was all organic compared to those two boosts. Now, he's got more subs than us. I don't know about views, but they're a training facility and all their videos are training videos. You can go there and you get 3 minutes on how to do a drop down, you know? And I'm not going to give up the gate, but you're wrong, you fucking idiot. That's not how you do a drop down, you know? But he's got all these assholes that subscribe and view it thinking, I know how to do a drop down now. You know what I mean? Like, people go there and watch that shit and they think that they're trained now because they saw it on the Santino brothers. Now, aside from the Santino brothers doing that, at the same time, they're trying to charge for training. So how can you charge for training if you're giving away the cow for free?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Oh, I know. So, you know, it's just not a sound business model, but again, it's just that show off bullshit, you know? Look at me, you know? And then I went and watched MLW.
Okay.
I don't remember the name, but it shows you how the impact it had on me. He was a writer for Vince. You know who I'm talking about? You've said his name before.
Dave Lagana?
I think so. It's the company that Savio works with.
Is it that or
that guy?
Court Bauer or Dave Lagana or?
I wouldn't know now that I think about it. But anyway, watching this shit, you can tell why Vince has no use for him. You know? He's got a bit of he's got more resources. He gets money from somewhere, or he had money, but he has more resources to put into production, etc. But I happened upon 3 of his, I think, top people, you know, and they're trying to make a Black Taz, you know. The kid's got a really good look. You know, he's not muscle bound, but he's big and he's certainly not fat. But he's trying too hard to beat a Black Taz with all these goofy suplexes. You know?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So the first thing is the internet wrestling fan loves that MLW.
Right.
You know, the Indians. There's probably mostly indie guys, you know. The indie performer that should still be buying tickets because it'd be more fun for him and all of us, you know. So this Indian comes on. He's somebody that they use. I don't know. He's a stooge or something. I'm not burying him because I don't know the guy, but he had nice gear. He came out with $600 worth of gear, $400 boots, and then this black kid unsafely beats the shit out of him.
Unsafe.
Yeah, man, trying to be the Black Taz, you know.
Oh,
Then I saw. You ever hear that kid Hammerstone?
Hammersteins?
Hammerstone.
Hammersteins? No, I don't know. No Hammerstones.
I forget the first name of the kid. At a glance,
Jewish or
huh?
is he Jewish?
Hammerstone. There's no
Oh, I thought you
sign.
said
Stone.
Steins. I like Hammersteins.
Well, anyway, back to Hammerstone. Did you ever see Adventures in Babysitting?
Yeah,
Remember Thor,
yeah,
the tow truck driver?
yeah.
Hammerstone looks like Thor. It's a good look, like Thor from Adventures in Babysitting. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he can half-ass talk, but he has a bit of a kind of a lisp, you know, which is he can kind of talk until the lisp hits. You start buying and you go, wait, is that guy lisping? You got a little Daffy Duck in there, you know. But upon appearances, man, I could see Vince doing you know, and he looks like how that little girl in Adventures of Babysitting saw the tow truck driver Thor. Oh, you know, he's got the look, man. And then he starts talking, and you're like, huh? You know what I mean? And the first thing is you can tell this kid is dependent on the juice because you can see his matches from 4 weeks apart. When you look at him, you could tell by the jolly jowls, you know? You know the jolly jowls we get when we're on the shit?
Yeah.
So he has those. But then you can see some 3 or 4 weeks later when he's off, and it's a different body. Still looks good.
Right.
He don't need to be on all that shit, is what I'm trying to say. But he is.
Right.
And then he has an idea on how to wrestle, but it's not tight. His ground game is just not tight. He's not honed. He's not a pro at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's in your purse. He tried to wrestle with the big black kid I was just talking about, and it was just abysmal. They got no ground game, and I don't know who told them to start a match that way, but unbelievable, horrible. They look like they ate a couple of 8th grade wrestlers and tried to go out there and put on a shoesting display. You know what I mean? They tried to put on like a shooting display, so that killed them off right from the get-go. You know?
Yeah.
So, go outside. So, the thing there was they killed themselves off right from the beginning with all the bells, the whistles, the effects, the graphics, the promos, all that crap. They killed themselves off immediately, and it's just not a good thing, you know? It's not good for business. It's not good for a wrestling company. But anyway, so this kid is talking about the 2 or 3 wrestling tryouts that he had. The first tryout was he acted like I crushed it, and he probably did crush it on a fitness level. But again, it goes back to the indie thinking. There's a promo or something out there from somewhere about his first tryout, you know? And by looks, man, he should have the part. You know, he has the part, like I told you, Thor. Ah!
Right.
But then he goes online and starts talking shit about the tryout. Like, even this guy who the indie fan is quote unquote gay for, and the indie he's somebody they look up to, you know, these indie tards. But he didn't smarten up to the fact that when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. And you certainly don't come out and bitch about it.
Correct.
So there was some interest. They called him back for a second tryout. He goes online and bitches about, I don't understand. The first time they said this, the second time they said that. Yes, you idiot. There's all kind of parameters with this shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're in the OVW developmental system. The last developmental system that produced any big stars, money drawing stars.
Yeah.
And then the third trial, he's like, I didn't give a fuck when I went down for that one.
What do you mean you didn't give a fuck? That's ridiculous.
He coasted it because of the way they were. Well, if your attitude is that way going in, when you have a third tryout, now they know.
I wouldn't
go ahead.
I just said I wouldn't show up if I was going to do that.
That's what I was just trying to say to you.
Why would you go to a tryout and phone it in? That doesn't make any sense. I get if you're getting paid by them and you have no desire to be there anymore and you mail it in. Well, that's one thing. But when you're trying to, why would you show up to a tryout and mail it in? I just wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't show up.
They're doing you a fucking solid by paying you to apply, to interview. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the bottom line, let's look at that breakdown, what you just said. They're paying you.
They pay you to try out?
They pay you to try out. They pay you $250. They pay for your flight. They feed you lunch. And they pay for your hotel.
I guess they kind of paid to try out before. If you worked dark, you still got paid. So I guess it's about the same.
Yeah, but this is a whole different setup. It costs them more to do that shit to fly you in and pay for your room.
Yeah, right. The fly them in and everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So put them up.
Exactly. So at some point, and then he tried to blame it on his trainer not preparing him for it. And that's the proof in the pudding again. Your trainer has no fucking idea either. That should tell you something right there. I mean, what did he do? Did he go and shop online and say, I'm going to go to the cheapest one? You know what I mean?
On you at the end of the day, you can't blame anybody for that.
No. And that's about accountability. Now, let's just talk about training for a minute and why we're the shit. You got to learn the politics. The physical is difficult. Once you can get through the physical, once you can master the physical, now we'll start fucking with your storytelling. Once you have that down, now we'll fuck with your politics, which the politics and the storytelling are even harder.
I was going to say the easy part's the physicality.
Exactly.
I mean, not easy, but storytelling. And I think once you learn how to storytell, you don't look at it as being harder. You're like, oh, wow, that's what really makes it fun. But then, yes, the politics is the hardest part, or it's probably the most taxing. The only actually the working part becomes the only thing you really enjoy. I could about get up to the WWE. That's the best part is the 10-20 minutes you're out there, because having to, for me, I'm just more too, I'm not wired that way, but for me to have to navigate those waters from a politics standpoint, that's more taxing than anything. Exactly. That's how it was up there when I worked. I think it was a lot more of a Shark Tank back then.
Well, it still is now. And I'll get to that too with this instance.
It is. Yeah. No matter what anybody says, it still is.
Yeah. Well, let me get to that instance now. So he blamed his trainer for saying, well, he just said, to them that I got a guy who looks the part. He should probably get a tryout, and I got one. But he went in there with expecting something, Yes, I say to them with the 7 guys I've gotten tryouts, this one's green as fuck. He has no clue, but I'm doing my best to get him ready. But you'll love the look, and I'm talking about AKA Alpha Samoa. They knew what they were getting. I didn't try to build him up into something that he wasn't. When I broke in, you could have had 4 matches and lied and said you had 50. I've done that to get booked, and I worked against Foley to do that once. But point being, Today, you got to be honest and straightforward and say, this one's all about appearance, and wait till you see the physical prowess. That's it. And I tell the guy,
Yeah.
there is no getting signed the first time, even though the second day in, they wanted to sign Alpha Samoa. That's when they made their decision. But that was based on look and greenness. But they liked the way he thought. You know, and I spent 6-8 weeks preparing him for that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he knew, and I told him, shut the fuck up. Listen. Shut the fuck up. Show them how hard you work. Show them humility. Don't sell anything. Don't trust anyone. Shut the fuck up. Focus on what you're there for.
Yeah, that's the best policy.
And this Hammerstone is the same look, but he's not as big as Alpha, and he's not half Samoan, half Italian, and he doesn't look as badass as Alpha did. Now, Alpha fucked it up because of his temper, but they found that out too the hard way after they signed him. You know? But this kid went down there expecting something. They usually give you 3 trials to see how you've progressed. And they told Alpha, we're going to sign you, but you fucking go back to Randy and work your balls off and have him make you a wrestler by the time you start here. You see what I'm saying? He didn't go in there and go, like, oh, they insulted me because they said I couldn't wrestle. Well, I embedded in him, you are not a wrestler. You don't know how to wrestle. This is a long, hard road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to his credit, after the trial, he came back and worked harder.
Right.
You know, there's other guys that I tell them that shit, and they were already indified. So one guy went down there who was lucky to get there. I said, he's not that good. He was trained somewhere else. I've been booking him on Saturdays, and I'm not going to say he listens to everything, but he's mulatto and does some modeling. This is another one based on look and having a clue, a smidgen of a clue. But I tell them what they're getting. You know what I mean? Well, he blew it because the first day in, when they went to tell him to lock up, they told him how they wanted to lock up, and he argued with them about, this is how I was taught. I get it. It's done. He was dubbed the kid from Chicago that didn't know how to even lock up. It's over. No matter what he did at that point, it was overdone. They said to me, a good-looking kid, he'll never work here. You know what I mean? So the point being is, then he went out and said that he did some other extra work, right? And you can see the stress and feel the stress in the kid. He went to do extra work wearing a suit. And this is the Shark Tank. He didn't say whom, but you could probably imagine, I can imagine too, that some guys that knew him, somebody from LA that was on the roster, fucked with him right away and said, what are you doing? Don't you want to get a job here? Put on your Dago tee, show off your muscles. Now, what happens when a guy comes in just to do extra work and he's strutting around flexing? What happens to him in that environment?
He's a flies on a rib roast.
And then he came back again in his Dago tee, and he thought they said to him the second time, now after this bullshit, you know, where he's already been dubbed, what the fuck's with this idiot? You know, they don't know, like, you guys don't know. Even today in 20, go ahead.
Take off your suit and put on your Dago t-shirt.
Show off.
Trying to help him out. They're trying to help him out.
who first of all, who thinks that someone up there is trying to help him?
You know? I mean, what? Oh man.
So then, Casey, he ends up going back to do extra work again, and he was in the middle of doing his extra work, showing off his body.
Yeah.
And they still said to him, you, come here, go in the ring with that guy and work until we tell you to stop. Right there in the middle of a taping, bro. I mean, in the middle of preparation for a taping. And he comes back and they set me up. They knew that guy couldn't work. They knew that guy wasn't any good, that he didn't even know how to wrestle.
So they're trying to figure out if you're any good.
Huh?
They're trying to figure out if you're any good. Can you carry
That's
this?
what I'm saying. To this day, this is a current interview. This guy who's a top idolized idiot who looks the part, has every ingredient but this. He has every ingredient. It's painful to watch, kid. If you ever hear this or the internet calls us out on this, you have every ingredient except for the humility and the psychological and the political. All your hard work is for nothing until you get that down. So, yes, they set him up to put him in there with a piece of shit to see what he did. And what he did, what the Indians do, try to get their shit in with somebody that can't do it.
Right.
They want people that could work, you oaf.
Yeah.
What did they do with you? Tell me again.
If you just slowed it down and did real simple shit, but made the most out of it, then they were like, okay, well, this guy gets it.
Exactly. Go out there.
That's all it would have taken. That's all it would have taken. I was kind of put in that scenario too.
I remember that now. So, go ahead, spill it.
No, I just remember when I actually tried out because they put me with a guy and he wasn't bad. I don't remember who it was. I really don't. But he was greener. He was just an extra indie guy, which I was too. But I didn't try to do a lot of shit with him. Yeah. First off, we didn't know each other, so I don't know that,
Yeah.
They just put us together and I'm looking at him like, but I would do that with anybody. That's the thing. Even if I thought he could work or not could work, that's really besides the point. I mean, you could kind of tell when you lock up with them, but by that point though, I knew how to do that shit. I knew how to, I wasn't like the Shawn Michael caliber.
No,
carried somebody, but
they knew that.
I knew enough to keep it simple and just work basic holds and then just call real simple spots, but stay on a body part and tell a story. That's all you really have to do is just stay on if you just keep going back to a body part and telling a story, they're going to like, okay, well, this guy can work with anybody.
All you have to do is not make a fucking mistake. I don't care if you don't take a bump or the other guy doesn't take a bump. All you got to do in that scenario is not fuck up. That's it.
Right. Yeah, that's why you keep it simple.
Yeah. So now this guy's flapped his gums so much that he doesn't get it. And they're looking at him going, this guy's been around between 5 and 10 years now. What a waste of talent. Because if he doesn't get it by now, he'll never get it. He's done. He's toast just from that little bit of fucking up. But he thinks because of the way he was trained in the culture of the locker rooms that he's in, that it's their fault.
Yeah, well, that's why people like that who point fingers and blame everyone else never succeed. So until you come to the realization that everything's on you and you can't, till you look yourself in the mirror and realize, hey, my destiny's my own hands. Even if someone does screw you, it's still on you at the end of the day.
How you handle it.
And until you change that way of thinking, you're never going to, in anything in life, that goes across the board. You're never going to amount to shit, or you're never going to achieve your goals as long as you're pointing and blaming other people. Because at the end of the day, you should have been smart enough not to put yourself in that position.
I knew to shut my fucking mouth. I mean, dude, once again, Pat Tanaka and I conspired and got me booked under Bill Dundee having the booker at USWA for a 3-day trial based upon the fact that we lied and said I was a 260-pound kid. And then I showed up and I made it work from there. And Bill Dundee was a tougher, bigger shark than anybody these indie tards could ever encounter because they're just not around anymore like that.
Right.
And I stayed for 9 months. It's funny. You know who Chaz Palminteri is?
Yeah.
Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
Well, I never knew this. The Bronx Tale is pretty much an autobiography of him with some embellishments. His old man was a bus driver. And that line about the saddest thing in the world is wasted talent, his old man came up with it and told him that his whole childhood, which I love. But that's what's up with this Hammerstone kid. you know, I look at him and I see so much potential, but the talent's wasted. You know, now, could he redeem himself based upon his look? And if he can pass the piss test and that look is maintained, yes, because his age, he's still, I don't know, around 30, which is good. But it would take a striking of lightning for them to, you know, take a look again, because it's too much work. One guy, his first year at NXT, it cost the company $90,000 with his salary, what they pay everybody, with everybody he's got to deal with, and the moving expense check. $90,000 right off the bat, if you make it or not, and they know most don't. You know, why they're going to invest that in you, especially now, when now you're even more behind the eight ball by flapping your gums like that to indie marks on indie podcasts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Then I saw this girl. You ever heard of, I don't know the first name, Valkyrie? She's a big blonde.
I don't know her.
She's one of the pinnacles of independent female wrestlers. And I know her name. I knew the name, but I never knew I never saw her. But I think her name has been thrown around with NXT probably at some point. And I could see why. She's Beth Phoenix-esque, but not as believable. And the problem with her is right from the get-go, she's trying to be Charlotte Flair.
Okay.
That fucks you. You don't try to be Charlotte Flair if that's your intention to work for Vince. They got a Charlotte Flair. My guys, when I threw around the term straight from the WWE Talent Relations top, technical standout, everybody tried to do Daniel Bryan. You know, and I'm like, you idiots. That's not what they mean. They have a Daniel Bryan. You know, they don't need 10 more Daniel Bryans at the time.
Right.
You know? That fucked her. And then the same thing, man, there's absolutely zero wrestling gimmick. She doesn't know how to chain, exchange holds. She doesn't know a takedown. She doesn't know, compelling pinfall attempts. She doesn't know what the term transition means as far as we use it. You know, she's got a look. She's got a look, you know, and she's got athleticism. She has charisma. And then she was working with some AAA girl. And sadly, this was something, because I was down there in 2008. I saw the Luchadores, you know?
Right.
I traveled with them and all that shit. They're working like indie tards now, too. There was not 1 ounce of believability in the match. It was 2 girls out there showing off.
Yeah.
And that's not what they want.
Yeah.
You know? So I did it. I went, look, please, if you have a real love for this industry, that means if you're, everybody's, it's like that. What's that shit in is it in Maverick or Top Gun? Like, no, it's in Officer and a Gentleman. Shit, my grandmother wants to fly jets. Show me something. That's this industry. Is, always has been, always will be. Regardless of how you guys think you're changing the climate, you're not. Because nobody's making a living at this shit that isn't working for Vince. And you're making a semi-living at AEW, but there's no guarantee there. Because now, Casey, remember what I said it over a year and a half ago? The internet is finally saying that there's a lot of concern about this new changeover with the ownership of the station, if they'll even carry AEW.
Right.
You know, so there you go. There's no guarantee there, you know. Unbelievable. But you come to us for training, and that's what happens. You know, we train you. The first thing is you become physically prepared. This is a guy, me. 60% of the guys that I was in USWA in '89 are dead as a result of the way this industry used to go. We didn't know that much about weight training and fitness like you guys do today. Therefore, these guys became dependent on pain pills. We were dependent on steroids because appearance and size was important, probably the most important thing at some point. We didn't know, you know, the risks. It wasn't like we're bad people for dabbling in steroids. We
Right.
didn't know, you know?
Right.
And, you know, the life of the road, you know, with the occasional partying, and all of a sudden someday the heart just says, fuck you, enough's enough. Today we
Yeah.
train you to be a damn thoroughbred.
Right. Right.
And look at the examples of Dolph Ziggler at what, 40 something. Look at that kid in the ring. Look at AJ
Yeah.
fucking Styles. You know,
Yeah.
because we know more about fitness and training today than we did. We do that first. There are no two better guys in the world that will teach you how to wrestle. You have to know that today. Every match I've seen in any of the brands of WWE, Casey, male, female, large, small, they start wrestling.
Of course.
That's
Yeah.
important. You got to have some ground game, and you can't have the same ground game as every other asshole. Y'all can't go out there and do the head to the arm Ric Flair thing and say, I'm a chain or. That's what they all go to. If you tell them chain, take them down, they all do that, and then headlock takedown. I think that's what you mean. Well, that's not what is meant today. You know,
Yeah.
we teach you how to build.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get you out there in front of the crowd and we agent you. And now there's a lot of schools out there charging a lot of money for what they call one-on-one training. And Santino Brothers is one of them, which blows my mind. They charge like $190 to work with a guy for an hour, right? On top of the training fee, because that's called the next level training. They charge for each level, just like every other wrestling company. But Casey, how can you do that when you're showing the video, which is kind of a one-on-one training, to cheat to get your traffic and views? But I don't know. It's mind-blowing to me.
Right. No.
You know, but you get that shit being agented by two motherfuckers that know. Probably the last two guys that are training guys today that have been there, done that.
Right.
You know, why waste your money? Why waste your time? Why waste your emotion just for that crap? I mean, if that's what you want, cool. But please don't say I love wrestling and call yourselves a wrestler, because you're not. 3/4 speed, half speed, lucha, and trying to steal the spot of the week from Instagram, and then trying to be Randy Orton or Batista 2022. It's not a wrestler.
Right.
And nobody cares.
Yeah. No one cares. Nobody cares. Well, you ready to wrap it up, buddy?
No, I have one more thing. Oh, I know. So, you know, I've been at a lot of places. When I first started, I had to be retrained. I paid to be retrained, and I worked 4 times as hard. You know, because I broke in with the Chicago Championship and thought I was a wrestler after spending a year and a half there and having one match. And I realized I'm not a wrestler, you know. Quit. It would have been a good time to quit, you know, but I didn't. I got retrained, and I happened upon some of the right people. So this is the Chicago area indie crap, okay? Sam DeCero, who all he wanted to do was pin me, and I was penciled in to be pinned to do a job for everybody and anybody because of whatever. But it don't bother me. I'm breaking in. But if it wasn't for Buddy Rose, Colonel De Beers, and specifically Mr. Electricity Steve Regal, I would show up expecting that, and those guys would say, no, I'll get you out of that. You're going to work with me. You know? I'm not swinging from your nuts, but when I look around this locker room, who can I work with? A 7-foot, 400-pounder? I can't do nothing with him at 50 years old. I could work a match with you. You know? You listen. You know what I mean? You got dark again, sweet cheeks. There you go. So then when I talk to them, it says, get out there and go to work and do some of that extra work for Vern and Vince if you can. So Sam, who ran once a month, and he was the only one running in Chicago area once a month, said, no, you can't go do that. I can't have you doing jobs on that TV and working on my roster. Well, what difference does it make? You have me penciled in to put over these guys that can't get their boots on. I don't understand. The difference there is they're going to pay me $150, $250. You know what I mean? So Then all of a sudden he changes his tune because he got a call from Greg, and Greg told him he needed talent for a taping up at the Mayo Civic Center in Rochester, you know. I'm not going to say names because these poor guys, they didn't know any better. Sam's the one that should have known. They thought they were going up there and getting pushed, Casey. Sam thought they were going to go up there and be on ESPN as fucking guys going over. So I'm green, you know, and I just had this thing on that. I'm trying to figure out why we not, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not supposed to do this, but collectively now we're all going up and everybody's practicing their finish before they go. You know, these poor bastards. And somebody can't show at the last minute. And I was in the right place at the right time and go, I can make it. You know, they were all practicing their finishes on me now that I think about it. You know, at a secret camp, I showed up and, you know, I took the best bumps. So everybody was practicing their finishing moves on me, including the chicks. You know, and I'm like, okay, you know, I could make it, you know, short time. So, you know, I made it. And he goes, you should be lucky to even get to ring an arm when you go. Right. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just happy to be going, sir. So one of the guys that he was pushing, and Sam would push a guy in his hometown. He would push the guy based upon how many friends and family he could actually pre-sell tickets to. So these poor bastards, they're thinking they're Goldbergs of the era until they're not in their hometown. Now they can't wrap their mind around that, you know? So one of these guys who looked the part, he goes up there and he brings his girlfriend with, who's cute, you know? But it wasn't that kind of party. He walks right up to Vern and says, hello, Mr. Gagne, sir. It's nice to meet you. This is my girl, and she's my valet at home. Can I use her tonight? You know? And Vern's like, it just walks away, and then Greg came in and said, well, you see, not tonight, you know? So he goes out there working with, I forget who, but somebody that could shoot. It might have been Rangens even, something like that, you know? And Vern is throwing a fucking fit. He's the shits. That guy is the fucking shits. You know what I mean? What the fuck? What the fucking fuck? You know, he's flipping out, you know? And I'm just the nearest guy. I'm against the wall watching the monitor in my gear, getting ready to do whatever they want me to do. You know what I mean? Right. Come here, kid. Get over here. You came from Chicago with that kid. I go, yes. Lock up with me. Lock up with me. I'm like, holy fucking shit. I'm locking up with Vern Gagne? You know? And I'm like, no, don't do that. This is your time. This is a test. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up, you know? So I lock up with him, you know? And I'm smart enough to know that I'm locking up with him. As stiff as I feel him, I'm tightening up to meet him in the middle.
Right.
So we lock up once. Lock up again, lock up again. We lock up again, and he's throwing me this way, and I'm pulling back, and he goes, okay, see, I don't understand. You two come from the same place. You can work, and he can't. So it didn't occur to me until recently that old timer shit that we always talk about. I was in that situation because Vern could tell by my lockup if I could work. This is what we're trying to tell you, idiots. It's the same thing today in WWE. Right. If you get 2, 3, 4, 7 minutes without a crowd even in front of anybody at WWE, you don't go out there and try to give them your fucking tombstone or your Spanish fly. You go out there and not fuck up. That's what they're looking for.
Right.
You know, and the rest is history. From that point on, Greg used to call me all the time and ask me to go up there and work. And I was like, Greg, I want to, but I'm not going to go out there and put over Tommy Jammer. I'm not going to go out there and put over DC Drake. And I'm certainly not going to get my neck broken by the Destruction Crew. It's just an unsafe locker room. You know, and he respected me for that, you know, and fast forward when we did that WrestleMania, I hadn't seen Greg and Vern in a long time. I had that little bit of a rib going where whenever I would do jobs for Vince, Howard and Finkel and the boys would pop, and the agents especially, when they say, Fox, 218 pounds, Mount Minnesota, right? You know, but when I saw them and I could walk up to them and say to Vern, even at 80 something years old, before he totally lost it, WrestleMania, Vern, did you bring your gear? You know what I mean? That's what I carry in this industry. And I said that in front of Levesque. I said that in front of Vince. And I got the belly laughs from all the guys. That's what you want to lead people with, not this, what I didn't get, who set me up and what I should be wearing. You go up there, and if you're dressed in your fucking suit, that's your gimmick as far as the business goes. You stay in that fucking suit. Hell, I don't even own a suit. You go up there in that suit, that's your gimmick. You stick to your suit until they tell you to do something different, because the bottom line is they were impressed with the fact that you're wearing a suit.
Right.
Fuck's sake, you know, it's easy. That's what I mean. Like, it's hard, but it's not. What's so hard about this? You did it.
Yeah, it's not that part. That's not that difficult. No.
Yeah, you know. And I taught you a lot of politics. I know that's the biggest thing, because that's the one we used to argue about. I barely ever raised my voice to you when it came to in-ring, and I worked with you myself.
Yeah.
But the arguments we would have was over the politics, and I wouldn't let up if it was something that I thought was going to fuck you, whether it was in Nashville, whether it was in Puerto Rico, or the on stages of getting hired by Vince, you know?
Yep. Yep.
So train with us. That's what it's about. Now, before we dip out, support us on Patreon. You know, we've got over 500 matches, man. That's one hell of a library for not much. What's the top tier? $6. You know, also Pivot Share. For whatever reason, a wrestling fan, and I get it because I'm a creature of habit too, they're comfortable on Pivot Share. Well, we're upping our Pivot Share game again for you guys, but we'd really like you to switch to Patreon, where we get 40% more of our, you know, of our revenue, you know. And then our shirts, Premier Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling tees. And also, if you want to learn how to wrestle, if you want to be credible in this industry and not just read about yourself on the fucking message boards and get the 15 likes from the 15 fans that pop for you but don't buy your shirts or any fucking thing, hit us up. If you're a wrestler out there frustrated and realizing this shit, and at least look around, saying to yourself in this indie environment, who farted? You know, hit us up. We'll work something out with you. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get any better training than you and I, with the exception of, and we'll close after this, okay, of Devon Dudley. But I don't think he is really, I don't think he's actively trying to grow a training school, because he's still on the WWE in the office. He's an agent, but he knows what the fuck he's doing. And I love to hear it. It warms my heart to hear that he's telling these guys the same shit we do. Right. You know? But did you hear or listen to that podcast with me and Jason Harrison, Big J Night, Death Proof?
No, I have not had it.
Do it. Do it. He's a great example of the Chicago cesspool. The kid moved all the way down there and reset. One more try to get it right after being in the cesspool for over a decade. He knew something stunk. You know what I mean? And he's thriving. You know, but you got to hear about. We're recording though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about the fuck up. But anyway, I was in the throes of the passion of this industry. You got two guys here that 50 plus years, and our experience isn't working in front of plants or scamming you guys to undercard to sell tickets. At the end of the day, you're not going to end up getting pinned by me and Casey if you have a clue. You know, you're going to get trained proper. And if you love this industry and you don't aspire to go to Vince, why would you go out there and try to do a generic version of it? You know, if you want to go somewhere, that's the other thing. Casey, do you remember what you looked like when you broke in?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Like a busboy.
Yeah, not great.
Remember what CM Punk looked like?
I don't.
He was so scrawny, dude. He would wear these beat up, piss-stained cutoffs and Doc Martens, and vowed he'll never buy boots because he's straight edge, you know? Now, when I hooked up with him I didn't fucking, I told him, well, this is what we do, never say never. But I looked beyond that and saw the fact that this is a young guy who really did love this stuff and would do anything for it. And I saw the talent out there when the bell rang. Ken Anderson looked like a dork. You know, Colt Cabana looked like a dork. Adam Pearce looked like a dork when they started. You never would have thought by looking at these guys or you when you met them that they would make money out there, establish themselves as a name, travel the world to make a living at pro wrestling.
Correct.
But they saw what it took and they manned up. So that's another thing, is never say never. If you love this and you have heart, and that's what it takes is heart, you can end up somewhere. And one way, shape, or form, even to this day, the little intangibles that I've ever done anywhere I went are noted. They're in the archives. So when it is time and you get that look, you will be prepared.
Right.
You know? So that's it, man. Premier Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Tees. Help us up. Hey, you got to watch our shit, you bastard. I'm going to put a match up right after we're done here. We've really ramped up the production quality with some simple tweaks.
Okay.
You're going to love it. The other thing is our ring. Tell them about our ring.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the best rings in the industry.
Honestly.
It's very safe. And, I mean, it's one of the best rings I've ever been in.
Thanks, man. The other thing about our ring is this. I am a worker. I did this actively for 30 years. So I think not like a goofy bastard that's trying to rook you for money. I think about longevity. So this ring that I have, I keep fucking with and maintaining so it stays safe.
Right.
Sometimes I'll tell the guys when they'll say good enough, I'll say, no, it's not. That little gap there is what's going to tear your ankle.
Right.
Take the canvas off. Let's do this right. This isn't the Indies. You know? All right, guys. Thanks for the support. Like and subscribe while you're here. If you're pissed off at us, let us have it. Let's start a little flame war in the comments. I know what I know, and this young man here knows what he knows. And we didn't read it in a book. We didn't hear it in a podcast. We didn't learn it from Meltzer. We went out there and earned that shit.
Learn it from Meltzer.
All right, handsome jugs. Let me
All right.
now, and I'll call you.
All right, buddy.
Boo boo now. Boo boo.
I know.
And then.